Pega Innovate. Today I'm going to tell you about creating your own API through Pega. So an API is an application programming interface where two or more external systems communicate with each other. So here we are using Pega as one of its external system, and another external system will communicate with Pega and use this Pega data to transfer it to their own system. That means any other external system can connect to Pega and transfer Pega data to its own system. So now let's dig up into implementation. So for using Pega as an API, we need to have a service rule. Here we can find create, integration services, and we can have service REST. You can use any type of service based upon your requirement. For our case, we are doing credit score retrieval using age and occupation of a customer. So means Pega retrieves a credit score of a customer by taking values of age and occupation as parameters. So before creating that service REST, we need to have a service package. Every service rule which we create should be contained in a service package. So I'll be naming the is credit score, naming the package description and package name. So create and open. So after creating the service package, you can see the processing mode stateless and service access group. Only this access group can access this service. And does this service requires authentication or not? And here requires authentication is a must. So we need, because if we uncheck this checkbox, we'll have a guardrail warning in our service rule, which is a severe guardrail warning. So we don't want that. So it is a must and should. And authentication type is basic. Basic authentication means the operator ID and the password is the basic authentication of the service. So we will save this. So now our service package is ready. Now we need to create a service REST. So for every integration rules we create, it should be considered an int layer class. So we'll go into int class, and by default you don't see a credit score here. You need to create it. Just create sysadmin and you need to create a class. So I have already created a class which is named as credit score. So what do we have is I have a data model and I have a property in it which is based on credit score. So here you can see is what is credit score. This is a property of single page. So when we are using REST, we can use XML and JSON format for response. So for those JSON format, we need to have a page structure. So either it is a single page or list page. So I have created a data type which has only one field defined in it, which is credit score, because we are taking age and occupation from the user and retrieving only one field, that is credit score. So it has only one field and it is a type of single page. So we have a single page property of named credit score and it has a credit score property. So I have defined the Tata Bank data credit score, which is the class of this data model. Okay, after that we need to create a decision table to retrieve, to make the logic work. Means from age and occupation we need to return a credit score. So next we need to have a decision table. So this decision table we have is credit score. So here we have two parameters, age and occupation. As I have said above, we are taking age and occupation of a user and returning a credit score. This is a sample logic and doesn't represent any real world credit score applications. I have taken here credit score of 0 to 100. So I have created a logic where the age and occupation of the customer or a user will be evaluated and a score is returned. After creating the decision table successfully, we need to check for conflicts and we also check for completeness. the decision table is consistent, and show completeness. Here we have a complete set of data which is still required for the decision to be completed. So here which is saying that if the age is less than 18, he is asking what should the this decision table should retain when the age is less than 18. But actually we are to for the bank itself, the person or a user should be at least 18 years old, so we don't need this, so just refresh it. So we can save it, and we have a just a info warning. We need to create a unit test case for this. So all the test case on creating a unit test case will be in another video. So after that everything is ready, our property is ready, our decision table is ready. Now we need to create a service rest rule. So I'm gonna name the service name as credit score and mention the service package name as what the your recently created credit score service name, and the service version will be v1. A url template is very important in our service rest rule. So first I'll create the url and I'll explain it to you afterwards. So here we are generating a credit score using age and occupation as parameters. As here age and occupation are in curly braces, which represents those are variable units and are passed dynamically to the service. So when click on submit, here you will get your URL template credit score slash age slash occupation, and we will get an identifier also which is auto generated. Now you can click on create and open. So after the rule has opened, you can see that resources Tata Bank work. Actually this resource should be in int class, int and a specific credit score class which you have created. Now what you have to do is we can get a service endpoint URL, whereas we created as CV. Again URL template which we created has been appended to this endpoint URL, credit score, age and occupation. So see, you can URL path parameters. We got parameters as age and occupation which are dynamically passed to the service. So after that we need to go to methods, and we can see get, post, put, patch, delete. According to your requirement you can use any. For this in our case I am going to use get, and now we need to create a service called activity to retrieve the credit score. So after creating and open we have an activity here. So what this activity actually does is this activity will call this decision table, passes parameters to age and occupation, and returns the data and will map it to a this property. C means this property will get the eventually final credit score. So from the age and occupation which will be passed through activity, and the return data will be passed to the credit score. While doing it we can set it. So before that we need to set the parameters of these two. So every parameter have its own parameter page, so we need to use property set method. So here we should have parameters like age and occupation. For the sake of clarity I am using age 1 and oc 1. So we need to set the properties of what? We need to set the properties of age and occupation. For parameters we'll use as param dot age and param dot occupation. So what is the RHS here? It is the values which are passed to the parameters of the activity. So we will pass age as 25 and occupation as student to the activity. So the data will be in param.age1 and param.awk1. So this param.age1 and awk1 will be transferred to age and occupation. So we need to set the parameters of age and occupation of credit score, this decision table, right? So we are setting the parameters of age and occupation with the parameters of activity. Means these are the parameters of decision table and these are the parameters of activity. So when we pass data to activity through parameters, this will be the property value will be in param.age1 and param.awk1, and these properties values will be set to the property names of age and occupation. So after that, what we need to do is we need to call the decision table now. A call this decision table is property map decision table. So what this method does is it will call the decision table and will map the output to a property. So that's what we need. We need to call the decision table and map the output to the credit score property. So what is the credit score name property name? First we have credit score, and in that we have a credit score property. This is of a single page and it is the property of the single page. And what is the decision table name? It is the credit score. What it does is it will set the proper parameters of the decision table, and after that it will call the decision table and will map the returned output to the credit score and just save it. So after saving, just run the activity. So it should return success. So now what we do is we need to go back to the our service rule and we need to pass the created activity here, and see we have parameters. We have to pass these parameters to the activity. So save it. And as I said, the authentication is required. So when you remove this and save it, and you have a normal info warning in the package, but when it comes to the service, when you save it, you will have a severe warning which decreases your guardrail score. So in order to avoid that, please use require authentication, and that is a basic type. And you can see it is the severe error will be gone. So after stating method, you need to create a request will be see. A request is sent using age and occupation, which are mapped to clipboard. So now we need a request is same, no need to change in any request. From the response we need to do is so on the response we need to do is map from JSON, map from key what dot credit score, and use fast processing. So this is the single page. You shouldn't give the single like here like this, because it states a single page property. The for JSON we need the complete data page. Sorry, yeah, sorry, data type. So save the service rule and run. So enter the age as something like 25 and occupation as student, and the method is get and execute, and you will have the simulation result here. Status code is 200, and we have another status codes. I will explain it in the another video about the status codes of the service. So 200 is a status okay and it is working fine. So and clearly if you can see that the credit score has written this is the object class, and we can also see the credit score as 80. So in order for further testing or connecting through to this service, we need to use this service endpoint URL. For checking purpose or testing purpose, I am using Postman. Sorry. So we need to pass the values in the link itself. Curly braces should not be there, and let's say self-employed. And authorization is very important, as you have said that, as we have said that service package is authorized you through basic. So same you can have to do is basic auth, and this basic auth is your operator ID. Go root, and password is same as Pega 123 hyphen exclamation. So send it. So we got a 403 forbidden error. Means it's saying that the request was legal request, but the service is refusing to respond to it, unlike a 401 unauthorized response. Here, for if you got a status as 401, you're unauthorized. Means is the username or there would be any changes in the username or password. So it is a 403, means it is a legal and authenticated request, but it is forbidden. So for the error handling, what we need to do is you need to check your operator profile. See, you have mentioned that only Tata Bank authors can be access this access group, but here it is Gogo Road authors. This should be changed to Tata Bank authors. Now send it. See, now you got is 90. You can use something like you can above 80 says 90. We can have, if it is age is above 18 and is still a student, we need to decrease its credit score. So 45. So this is a simple implementation of using your Pega as an API.